What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse ranch, no hate. So one of the family asked me to do a video about Joyce versus Deontay Wilder, who I think would win. Well, family, your request is granted. And guess what? I actually had a plan on doing this as well. And the reason why I planned on doing this is because Wilder just lost to Parker, and he hasn't had his follow-up fight, after that to get back on track. Now, Joyce and Dillian White, they both had their comeback fight. Let's say it like that. He didn't have his comeback fight yet. Okay. And they didn't look so good. Now, Wilder didn't look good against against Parker. Dillian White, his last fight before Christian Hammer was against Jermaine Franklin. Joyce, of course, was Zhang. He got knocked out twice. Now, and the purpose of me even doing this video is because I don't think either one of them will be next for Wilder, because they just fought. And if Wilder takes another 3-4 months, or whatever, to get back in the ring, then it's like it defeats the purpose, really. That's just too much time. And pretty much this is part of, the excuse that he made along with the cryo chamber situation, is that ring rust and, inactivity, which he said he wasn't going to use that after the fight in the ring. But that's what they end up going with. Okay. So yeah, it wouldn't make sense. Now, who he comes back against, we don't know. But I don't think it will be Dillian White or, Joyce, like I said, because they just fought. And if they fight again, it wouldn't be another 3, 4, 5 months or something like that. So it wouldn't make any sense. Okay. Looking at what for what Wilder is trying to do to get back on his track, on track. Now, if Wilder's next fight, or next 2 fights or whatever, I don't expect it to be against high caliber fighters. So I feel like it's going to be the same thing. His comeback fight to look good, and then see what things go from there. Now, will it be one of them afterwards? Who knows? Okay, so the whole point is not just in general, because, the Juggernaut at his best versus Wilder, Juggernaut goes through him. Wilder's too light in the ass, man. And part of what I'm going to break down in this video is what I'm going to get at. Is part of what I'm going to get at, is that the point that I'm going to make is part of why, not even now, he still might have a difficult time. He'll have a difficult time with Joyce. One is this: Joyce at his best and Wilder at his best. Wilder doesn't know how to control distance. He doesn't throw combinations. He doesn't fight off of his jab. He only throws these windmill punches when he thinks he has you hurt. Or, if you back him into the ropes, he will lean back and literally, he has there's no science to his game at all. Now, for Wilder to have to deal with Joyce coming forward with that jab and that constant pressure, and Wilder already can't fight off the back foot. Wilder would depend on going to the ropes and then trying to lean in. Joyce is not hard to find, but I think Wilder has a difficult time. I don't think his punch, Zhang is 280 goddamn pounds. Zhang is a strong guy. See, everybody gets caught up into this, Wilder's the hardest puncher in heavyweight history. I don't even believe that, to be honest with you. I just don't. I don't get that feel from him. I look at the guys he fought, and he has power in the right hand, but at the end of the day, look, you saw what Zhang did to Joyce. You see that Zhang is a big dude that can punch. Zhang, he pretty much, you stand in front of him, that's what he wants. Zhang with the stamina issues, that's something that either he's going to correct or he's not. But at the same time, if you don't do much, you don't really bring anything to Zhang and make him work, then basically his comfort zone will be there, and you trying to throw one punch at a time, not putting combinations together, that's easier for Zhang to deal with. And that's something that Wilder doesn't do. But I'm not going to get into that right now with him and Zhang. Zhang just lost, and I was going to do that with Wilder, and I'm matching him up because we're looking at potential opponents. So, I'm eventually going to do him versus. I'm going to do him versus Zhang. The difference is, what I'm doing is not overall just in general them at their best. I'm talking right now based on their last performances. This is what I'm going by, okay? Now, because this is where they are right now. So this is not about what if they were in their primes. And no, I would go with Joe Joyce against Wilder, definitely. Now, this is where we are right now. Wilder still can't fight on the back foot. Wilder can't box. Wilder doesn't know how to put combinations together. Wilder is still one punch at a time, or the most you'll get is jab, right hand, or just leap in with the right hand. Other than that, it's one punch at a time. Whether it be a body shot, he will throw a left and right to the body. That's the only time you really see him throw, anything other than just the 1-2. It would be like 2 body shots. But the bottom line with him is he's not consistent with any game plan. He just waits and waits, and he's just looking for that opening. Now, the difference with Joe Joyce right now, is his volume is gone. That and work coming in. Look, his size coming in with that behind that jab, and that constant volume of punches and pushing you back and making you fight more. That was his strong point. And without that, it's easier for Wilder to land, the right hand on him. But the problem is Wilder throws one punch at a time. So Joyce will actually be able to see the shit coming. It's not like Wilder's lightning quick. He has some quickness, at times, but overall, it's coming. Now, I don't think by no chance that he hits harder than Zhang does. I know people will, yeah, but look at his knockout ratio. Well, that's all Wilder knows is coming forward, and also look at who he's fought. Okay, and Zhang is a boxer, so even though he can punch, Zhang depends on boxing skills. Zhang doesn't go in and go for the kill. He doesn't go. He goes in to box. He got 280 pounds behind his shots, and he can punch and he can box. Wilder going up against someone with that kind of weight and Joe Joyce, that movement, backing up, he's uncomfortable. He can't. He doesn't know how to control distance. He just he keeps his arms out to keep space, but he's not effective with working off of that space. Now, if he catches you slipping coming in, and you just, that's what Wilder always does. He catches you slipping. It's not like he sets traps, calls you to do something. And Wilder doesn't. He doesn't do those type of things, man. Wilder just waits to land the shot. But the question would be, and I really don't think that his punch would do damage to Joe Joyce like people think. I just don't think it does. And when I look at the way Wilder throws the shot, okay, the problem with Joe Joyce is he gets hit too often, but Wilder's not a volume puncher. Wilder is very reserved, okay, in terms of his punch output. Now, I'm not saying at all it's impossible for him to knock out Joe Joyce. The thing with Wilder, though, it's he's predictable, okay. And now, looking at his performance with Joe Joyce, the question is, how would he fight Joe Joyce? And I believe, after what just happened with Parker, he has to know that's not him. That doesn't suit him. So I believe that he goes back to what he knows, and that's what he's been doing all this time. But at the same time, for him to win a decision over Joe Joyce, he's gonna have to land. He's gonna have to land. You know combinations aren't coming. So it's not like I think he'll just be in there landing the right hand 20 times around. I mean, in all honesty, it's like if he's landing clean, and I'm not saying he can't break Joyce down and win, but I really don't think Wilder, see, you know, when I watch him throw punches, and I watch the way Wilder like throws the right hand, if you watch him, that's the only punch he turns into. And a lot of times, he still don't turn the right hand over properly. That's why he hurts his hand so many times. That's why he breaks his hand. That's why he's been in those situations. And I really don't think that he really felt like he was going to knock Joseph Parker out. Because if you think about all the talk he said and things he was saying about he feels strongly, supremely confident he's going to stop Joe Joyce. He was depending on Joe Joyce to run into something. But him coming in at 213, he definitely didn't plan on, you know, you saw his game plan. You know, and even at 238 when he came in against Klitschko at Fury at 238, he still didn't like try to come forward and dominate the fight. It was more like a stalemate type thing, and Fury spent the majority of the fight pushing him backwards. So when I look at that, you know that Wilder just doesn't know how to do those things. I think bottom line is, if there's any time that he's capable of beating Joe Joyce, it could be now. Simply because Joe Joyce doesn't use that volume anymore. But in all honesty, Joe Joyce's team should be able to negate that shit. Like, man, keep the jab in Wilder's face. Keep the jab in his face. If the punches are not coming like they used to, you can't throw as many shots as you used to, you're coming forward. Because Joyce can't fight going backwards either, but Wilder's also not strong enough to back him up. He's not skilled enough. He doesn't have that in his repertoire to back Joe Joyce up. So it'll be the same type of thing of Joe Joyce coming forward, trying to impose his will on Wilder. Wilder doesn't have the footwork. He doesn't have the time and the coordination. Wilder just doesn't have that to be able to go in there, slip, move, make him miss, make him pay, set him up. He doesn't have those type of skills. This would be a fight, man, like to me, similar to like Ron Lyle and George Foreman in the sense of both guys just going for the knockout. You understand what I'm saying? And I believe Wilder's build, those skinny little waists and them little legs, man, and you see Joe Joyce likes to go to the body too. I believe with Wilder, like if Joyce is landing them body shots on him, if and Wilder, like I said, he doesn't know how to really control distance, pick you apart. He doesn't do that. It's also possible Joyce could just wear him down. And once he gets to the point where, like Wilder, you see what Wilder will do. Wilder has shown, like, he will try to knock you out. He gets tired, his hands go up, he goes straight back in a straight line, but he's always going to try to knock you out. So right now, to compare this Joe Joyce versus Deontay Wilder, I still think Joe Joyce's size and that him coming forward with that pressure, making Wilder fight backwards, that works against Wilder altogether. Wilder trying to stand up to him and trying to outmuscle him is not going to work for Wilder. That motherfucking Joe Joyce played rugby, okay? He's not going to be trying to sling Joe Joyce around successfully. That shit is not going to work for him. And like I said, he's too light in ass for that type of style. Wilder would have to be patient, but more active than he's used to. And what I mean about when I say patient, well, how he keeps his arms out and he's trying to like just keep distance. The problem is when he throws the jab, he has to mix it upstairs and downstairs. But the problem is that the right hand is coming. You know it's no other punch that you have to worry about with Wilder. So I just feel like between him and Joyce is more of a workhorse. Joyce has more. He has more in his side where his punch output would be too much for Wilder. Wilder would have to clip him and catch him. So being that Wilder's used to being behind on the scorecards and catching you with that shot, he'll be okay with that. But he just might not get to land that shot the way he needs to. Now, if Joyce is just coming in there sloppily and careless, yeah, he can walk into some shit, and it's possible Wilder can get him out of there. I think if he fought Wilder, I believe that him and his team would be like not so careless. Like, look, man, I want you to come forward, be the juggernaut, do what you do. But I don't want you coming in there without throwing the jab. Move your head. Don't come in on a straight line. Move. And you see Joyce trying to do that now. But the problem is he doesn't know how to do that and kick that jab, pop it, and come in. He didn't show that against, Cash Ali. Now, the difference also, and Cash Ali kept landing it overhand, right, and it did nothing. Joyce just wasn't budging. The thing with Wilder, though, is you're going to be expecting it, you're looking for it, but at the same time, if Wilder's backing up, he can't fight. Wilder has to plant his feet. Now, you come rushing in carelessly, you can get clipped. The way I see this shit, I think Joyce could stick to the game plan and make it more effective than Wilder. In the sense, Wilder is only going to try to knock you out. Joyce is always trying to knock you out. But he's more like a lumberjack. He just keeps chopping at you till he finally gets you. Okay? Or like Pac-Man. He just keeps eating those dots until he finally gets the fruit, get the little circle, and then, okay, boom, now I'm going for the ghost. That's what he does. Wilder is not like a lumberjack because Joyce is like an accumulation of punches constantly wearing you out, coming at you with all that weight behind his shots. And, I still think he can overwhelm Deontay Wilder. Just by the fact he's forcing him backwards, but coming in behind the jab, he's going to have to do that. Okay? He's not just coming forward. He has to come in behind that jab. And I believe that Wilder going back, like Wilder's jab is ineffective going backwards at all. He has nothing when he goes back. And it ends up being him going to the back to the ropes with his hands up. Clinch happens. He walks around, I don't think he really would know how to fight Joyce, to be honest with you, effectively. And again, it's heavyweight boxing. Can he land the shot to knock Joyce out? It's possible. But I really just think that everybody's on to Wilder now. They understand what he has. And it's just basically stay away from the right hand. And like Wilder is not a crafty fighter, man. Wilder's going to come to try to knock your head off. And I think that him and Joyce are the same age on top of that, so it's not like one has some big advantage, and none at all. But I think all that rugby playing also helps Joyce with stamina, and that I feel like will be a deciding factor, one, because if you make Wilder fight more than he wants to, you see how tired he gets. You see how tired he gets, and I feel like Joyce is going to back you up. He's not coming in to grab you and put his weight on you like Fury does, which is effective. It can be effective. It happens. It wears guys out. But Joyce is coming forward. I think it'll be Wilder initiating the majority of the clinches, basically. Buying time, which is smart. Buying time and trying to recreate space. But at some point, you got to lower the boom. And like I said, it's possible Joyce could walk into something, and Wilder time that shit, throw it hard enough, it's possible. So I'm not throwing that out the window. But I am saying, I just don't really think his punch will have the effect on Joe Joyce the way people think it would. Joyce coming forward, now, yeah, if he's coming in just being sloppy and careless, and Wilder time he can, but Wilder's right hand, and this is what people got to understand. It's one punch coming at a time. Wilder throws nothing but power shots. Wilder's stamina, they talk about, his stamina is this and that. No, he has power from the first round to the 12th round. But Wilder gets tired as well. Why? Because when he does throw, every punch he throws, he's trying to knock your head off. You understand? Even when he throws his jab, he's trying to throw it so hard. And you watch, Wilder gets tired, man. And so if Wilder is in a position of, man, I can't land the right hand, or I'm landing it, this motherfucker's not going down. And understand, it's easier to prepare for Wilder style than it is for Joe Joyce. Now that Joe Joyce is slowed down, like I said, this would be, if any time Wilder had a chance of beating him, in my opinion, it would be now. But I need to see what Wilder looks like in his comeback fight. Because basing it on the way he fought Joyce, he just did the same thing all night and it wasn't effective, and he couldn't switch up and do anything different. He couldn't even go back to his old style. He tried to stick with the same thing, even though it wasn't working. And he lost the fight. He got beat up. So there's no way I can count, I'm going to count, Joyce out of this fight based on how he looked, because they both look terrible. But bottom line is, and he won the fight, it's just that his main weapons wasn't really present in the fight. And he wasn't using the jab the way he normally does. Now, I don't think he can throw as many punches per round like he used to. Or I know he can't, or he would have been doing it. He wouldn't have stopped doing that on purpose. That was his strong point. But again, now if Wilder could put punches together, and Wilder knew how to control distance, and he had footwork, if he had those things, then we would be talking about maybe something different. But looking at what Wilder has to work with, and looking at what Joyce has to work with, let me break it down. This is what I'm going to go with in the fight. As I said, I think Joe Joyce style would be harder for Wilder to adapt to than it would be for Joe Joyce to adapt to Wilder style. Joe Joyce don't give a fuck. He's coming to fight. Wilder is more cautious than Joe Joyce, but he's coming to knock you out. He just doesn't have the skills to put it all together to do anything other than what we're used to. Jab, right hand. Okay. I think that Joe Joyce, now of course, the guys who make the least mistakes got the better chance of winning. But I think after getting knocked out by Zhang and feeling that power, now coming in there with Cash Ali and getting cracked again with full shots and not going down, that he still has some confidence in the fact, okay, he has to look at that fight and know this is not the same. I'm not the same guy I was. Now, looking at that, I think that Joe Joyce would still have more confidence, and especially just looking at how Wilder fought against Parker, because the one thing that you know for sure is Wilder's just not strong enough. He's not big enough. It's not just about punching power. He doesn't have the size. He doesn't have the body mass or the power to force Joe Joyce backwards. Joe Joyce can force him backwards, though. Okay, and the fact of the matter is, his bread and butter is very limited. So unless he's going to land that shit repeatedly all night long, you understand what I mean? His punch output is not going to be there. And pretty much, I see a lot of clinching, a lot of, just movement, jab, right hand, jab, right hand. Like, and basically, Joe Joyce shouldn't be getting hit by this shit. Now, on the other hand, if Joe Joyce is trying to be too defensive to the point where, okay, he's not letting his hands go, that gives Wilder the best chance that he needs, because the less Joe Joyce throws, the more open he is to get hit with shots. Okay? But because we know it's going to be the jab right hand, it's the type of shit where Joe Joyce should know that shit's coming. You understand what I mean? But if you watch Fury fight him, if you watch even the first Bermans-Deverne fight, Wilder spent the whole fight going backwards, and he still does this shit. He walked to every corner post in the ring. He just goes and he just walks the corner post around the ring. He still has no footwork. So what he tried to do with Joseph Parker was completely ineffective. So Wilder wouldn't even have confidence to even try to do that shit again. And that would be, okay, I'm in survival mode. And I think Wilder's ego is going to be too much for him to want to fight a guy like Joe Joyce coming forward with power shots. He wants to show he has power too. So I believe it would be more of him just trying to get back to what he normally does. And I just don't think it's enough, man. I just don't think it's enough. And I just think that the fact that Joyce is going to make him fight more than what he wants to, I think that Wilder's going to get tired faster than Joyce. And when Wilder gets tired, he can't hide it. Wilder's just wide open to be hit. And I think Joe Joyce's stamina plays a big part. I think that even though the volume is not the same, him constantly coming in off that jab, throwing body shots at Wilder, making Wilder have to dig down and throw more than just like Wilder's going to have to throw more than just the jab right hand. You know, and Wilder's feet is not fast enough to just take him out of the way where he can move, get the angle, and catch him, you know, with the shots he needs to. That's where Wilder is going to have the biggest issues, is because he's going to have to try to fight backing up, which he can't do. And if he's trying to stand up to Joe Joyce and trying to, you know, hold his own and refuse to get backed up, that's when he's going to get hit with those little short chopping shots. That's when Joe Joyce is going to throw that wild right to the body, but that shit has power behind it. And Wilder with them skinny legs, y'all, and that little small waist, this is what I'm telling you. This is where you'll see the wear and tear. And I feel like it'll be one of those fights you're watching it going, I can't believe this shit is happening. Like, Wilder, move. What the fuck are you doing? I think it'll be one of those type of fights. And to be honest with you, I think if he's going to knock Joe Joyce out, you know, he's going to have to do it off movement. And I say that because Wilder trying to stand in flat with him, unless Joe Joyce does a Dominic Brazil and just throws some lame, lazy shit and Wilder just time him and bam. I mean, shit's possible. Shit's possible. But I just don't think it's enough. I just don't think it's enough. And I feel like for Joyce to get hit, see, let's not forget something. Zhang is a big-ass dude. He boxed, he jabbed, he swole his face up, and he was consistent. He was precise with his shots. Wilder doesn't have that, y'all. He doesn't have that. Wilder goes for the knockout. Don't you know they could have fought a long time ago? I remember when Joe Joyce was calling his name and people were saying, you know, he ain't did nothing yet and whatever. Well, Joe Joyce is better than all those other dudes that Wilder fought. But at the same time, the fight just never happened. And now Wilder's in a position where for him to try to get back on that Saudi card, he needs a big win. So my point is, for Wilder, and for him to say he don't know if he still have his killer instinct and all this kind of stuff, you know, going into a fight not sure about yourself, you know, AJ shows you what happens when you're not sure about yourself. You don't fight the way you're supposed to. And I really just don't think that Wilder has enough to keep Joe Joyce off of him. And that's simply because of his lack of skill and his lack of IQ. And once again, he's in the same situation. Punch his chance. But in terms of him just breaking him down, staying in the fight, making it competitive, and they back and forth, I don't see that really happening. I really think, and let's not forget something, y'all sleeping on Joe Joyce's chin talking about, oh, because Zhang knocked him out. Do y'all know how big Zhang is? 280 fucking pounds and can fucking box, bro. Okay, everybody talk about Wilder's power. but his power didn't do anything for him against Parker. His power, he dropped Fury, but Fury was able to get back up. You understand what I'm saying? And what happens when you fight guys that got the heart and determination? And you got to understand, too, for Joyce, for him, he knows he's in the same position. I can't afford to lose again. But, like I said, y'all, I just think stylistically that Joyce would be able to adjust to Wilder's style much better than Wilder would be able to adjust to his. And Wilder also going backwards, like I said, trying to catch you coming in, and he turns into the right hand. It's possible that he can land it, but I just don't think that his punch has the effect on it that people think. And I believe he lands on Joyce, and Joyce is still coming. It's gonna fuck with Wilder's psyche. Like, what the fuck, man? I'm hitting this dude with everything. And I just don't. You when I look at how hard Mike Tyson hit, right? Mike Tyson was what, 216, came in at 224 times. That wasn't his best weight. Pound for pound, I don't think Mike Tyson hits harder than Anthony Joshua does. Pound for pound, I don't think Mike Tyson hit harder than Lennox Lewis did. Mike has speed and snap on the shot, yes. But we talking dudes 240, 250 with power. I don't think he hit harder than George Foreman. I don't think he hit harder than Ernie Shavers. And you know what? I don't think Deontay Wilder does either. And my point is, with all those knockouts he had, see, when you get in there with another determined fighter, look at Holyfield. He was landing some shots on Holyfield. Holyfield is how big? 216, 214 was his biggest, and stuff like that. 217, I think, was his heaviest. Holyfield is no giant physically, but he has a jaw on him. You see the point, what I'm telling you. Holyfield fought and came in, tied him up, walked his little ass back to the ropes. Now, Holyfield got accustomed to fighting these big dudes and holding his own against them. So this is all experience gain. I don't have to worry about that with Tyson. Tyson is not stronger than me. I can walk his little ass back. We the same size. You understand what I'm saying? And I feel like the same thing. When he got in there with the top level guys, that's when you seen the difference. And I don't care nothing about all that custom model bullshit. Custom model has been dead for years. And people still was picking Mike to beat everybody. But when he lost, excuse central. When you look at it, this is what I'm saying with Wilder. When guys are determined, it's different, man. It's different. And if y'all really think that he has more power on his shot than Zhang, y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. Just like this shit that like that's why I said when you look at the knockout, right? When Anthony Joshua landed that right hand on the ball guy, Hellenius. Mind you, this is the 8th round. So you talk about somebody's power carrying through bro, he caught him, stretched him. He was out. Wilder caught him in the first round when he was fresh. You understand what I'm saying? So my point is, I don't think he hits harder than Anthony Joshua. I just feel like AJ, if you watch him, AJ, even though AJ understood being a boxer puncher early in his career, right? But AJ was always boxing. AJ wasn't just trying to knock you out. All Wilder do was try to knock you out. So a lot of his shit is uncoordinated. No real rhyme or reason, just throwing it as hard as he possibly can. You understand? Hitting people with the wrong part of his glove and breaking his hand. He's reckless. But when you turn your shots properly and you know how to box, like, all of the people that thought Ngannou was going to beat AJ, I'm like, why? What the fuck have you seen Ngannou do that made you think he was going to beat AJ? Oh, once he hits AJ, it's over. Okay, well, you see what skills do. Again, something that Wilder doesn't have. So now it would be one guy trying to knock you out with one punch, the other guy breaking you down, wearing you out to get the knockout. I just still think Joyce has too much for Wilder. That's what I think. I'll pick Joyce to win if this fight happens. Because bottom line is, Wilder is not going to be able to stop him from backing him up. Wilder can't fight backing up. Going forward, it's not that he's good. It's just that's his best chance to land that right hand. Even if he's backing up and he throws it and you run into it, okay. But Joyce is still a different type of dude. When it comes to, and let me say this, okay, because skill-wise, Wilder's not elite either. Wilder has the right hand. We see what happened the 2 times that he really stepped up in competition. And this is exactly the difference. When you fought better opposition, you react differently. When you've lost to the top opposition, it's more in your mind. What do I have to do to win? How does Wilder keep this man off him? You see what I mean? And him throwing that jab right hand. If Joyce is moving his head and move out the way and he's coming in, believe me, it's going to get to a point where he starts chopping at Wilder. And again, when you don't have the ring IQ, when you don't have that ring, that savvy to know how to maneuver around and get the shots in and, you know, be able to control the distance. Wilder's not good at short range. He's not good at mid range. Okay? He's better at long range. You understand what I'm saying? So either Wilder catches him and gets him out of there, and as far as I'm concerned, you know, late knockouts can happen, but I think Wilder has to get Joyce out of there early, because if he doesn't, again, Joyce has way better stamina, and he's going to wear Wilder down, and Wilder's going to be wide open. Even though Joyce is wide open, the difference with Joyce and Wilder is Joyce is going to be coming, and he's going to be forcing Wilder to throw punches he don't want to throw, and that's going to leave Wilder open. So either he chops Wilder down and knocks him out, or he winds up winning a decision based on, you know, the fact that I see Wilder just laying back, a lot of holding going on, and I think if it goes a decision, Wilder definitely loses. He just doesn't have the IQ to box, man. It's just that simple. I think, and that's one of the differences. I think you see, Wilder can only win if he knocks Joyce out. Joyce can win by decision or knockout, or but I believe that Joyce would ultimately break Wilder down, and Wilder just doesn't have the sharpness to take advantage of all of his, terrible mistakes that Joyce make. You understand what I mean? Now, catching him slipping with a shot, it's possible Wilder can knock him out. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible, so let me say it again. But I'm saying, if I have to pick a winner between Joyce and Wilder, I think Joyce breaks him down. And whether it's a TKO or a knockout, I just think he breaks Wilder down. Now, on the other hand, if Joyce shows Wilder too much respect and he holds back, once again, that gives Wilder the advantage he needs. Because as long as Joyce is not punching, then he's more vulnerable. Because his best defense, like I said in the last video, is his offense. But I believe him going in there against Wilder, and they both train for each other, and they're both preparing at their best, I just think Joyce can adapt better than Wilder can. Bottom line. I just think he'll adapt better than Wilder. And again, we've never seen Wilder win any other way other than landing the right hand. But I just think Joyce will be able to absorb his shot better than people think. I really do. And I believe that Wilder, psychologically, will end up in that same place of, what the fuck, man, I'm hitting this guy. What do I have to do? I don't see him definitely is hitting harder than Zhang. I don't see him hitting as hard as AJ. He might have a good right hand, but that's all he has. So what happens when you're trying to open up and you're getting caught? Because one thing about Wilder, he's not defensively sound. His best defense is staying away with his arms out to try to keep distance. Throw a shot, hold, tie up. And pretty much when you watch, that's why I say, even if you watch the first fight with Fury, there wasn't a lot of punches being thrown in that fight. And that's why I say, when people are like, it was an action-packed, no, the fight had its moments. The knockdowns, the drama, yeah, it had its moments, but it wasn't a lot going on. It really was a dull fight. The second one, The third one, those fights were more action-packed. Yeah, those fights were more, the first one wasn't a lot going on. And so Wilder is not even that guy right now that he was then. Joyce isn't the same guy either, though. So really, depending on who deteriorated the most, where for them to go into a fight with each other and the guy that just can't execute, I see that being Wilder, man. Because there's nothing special about him. No, the defense, offensively, nothing. It's just we know what he's going to come with. Yeah. And the thing about Joyce, though, is sometimes I wonder if Joyce is just getting hit on per. Are you trying to get punched? Because a lot of times, man, I see him and it's like, how the fuck did you get hit by that, Joyce? How? But, that's my take on it. I picked Joyce to walk Wilder down and wear him out and stop him. That's my take on that. And if he doesn't stop him, it's going to be because Wilder's holding a lot and trying to stay away from the big shots. But so it more than likely might end in a TKO. More like that. But either way, I just think that Joyce is too big, too strong. That's what I really believe between the two of them. And I really can't see Wilder doing anything other than getting the knockout. And I feel like for his best interest, it should be early, because once again, he's going to make Wilder fight more than Wilder wants to. Now, if Joyce goes in there respecting him too much, then he can give Wilder what he needs. Meaning Wilder can keep distance and just keep him at bay. But I don't really see Wilder landing that shit too often, because Wilder just basically, he doesn't camouflage it. He just throws it. Now, if you watch what Cash Ali was doing, he was going back, he going to the corners, and he, whatever, moving, and all of a sudden, nowhere, boom. But it wasn't even phasing Joyce. You know what I'm saying? And I don't get caught up into the hype. So yeah, that's how I'm breaking this down. Joyce by stoppage, late rounds, wearing Wilder out, making Wilder fight more than he wants to. Wilder can't find the solution to keep Joyce off of him. He can't back Joyce up. He's forced to go for the knockout. And with the knowledge that he has and his understanding of what he does, that's all he knows how to do. So he's going to go out trying to knock this man out. And I just don't think it's enough. And I think he winds up getting stopped. So that's my pick on Joyce versus Wilder right now. Joyce versus Wilder, like I said, both at the top of the game. I think Joyce knocks him out. Clearly knocks him out for the same exact reasons. Too big, too strong, and at that point, too much volume, working behind that jab, coming in, and Wilder just can't. Wilder's not as good of a fighter as Dubois is. He's definitely not that good of a fighter like Dubois is. He has the power, though. He has the power in his right hand. But I don't think it's enough for Joyce. I just don't. Y'all always hollering styles make fights. Well, look at the point of what I'm saying. If the dude could sidestep, had lateral movement, knew how to pivot, spin off, step around, he doesn't do any of that shit, man. He doesn't do any of that shit. It's just basically back up, try to land a fucking right hand. What's he going to do to keep Joyce off of him? You see what I'm saying? So Joyce might not need as much volume as he normally had to beat Wilder. If he had that volume, if this was, like I said, they're both at their best, I think Joyce steamrolls Wilder, man. Wilder just doesn't have enough to keep him off. Ernie Shavers was one of those guys. If Ernie Shavers, you were one of those pace fighters, took your time and waited and laid back, and yeah, Ernie could get you out of there. But if you jumped on Ernie Shavers didn't have any answers, man. And Ernie could punch with either hand. Either fucking hand. Didn't matter if it was a cross, if it was uppercut, hook, Ernie could get you out of there. And Wilder just doesn't have that one trick pony. My pick, Joyce. Talk to me in the comment section. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.